While flying high in the sky, an old pilot noticed something strange, a massive swarm of bees. He didn't have time to dodge, and before he knew it, he was swarmed in the cockpit. In a panic, he made a bad call and yanked the controls to climb, trying to escape the chaos. Suddenly, a commercial airliner was headed straight for him. They collided, and the pilot was sucked out, leaving a huge gash in the plane. Oxygen masks dropped, and passengers were in a frenzy. Luckily, a flight attendant named Grant was on board. She saw the co-pilot was badly hurt, but still gripping the controls. He pushed a button with all his might, stabilizing the plane, but then he passed out. Grant tried to call air traffic control, but the radio was dead. Thankfully, her phone still had a signal, and she called 911, who connected her with air traffic control. With no pilot left, she was the only one who could save the passengers, but she had zero flying experience. Fortunately, the plane was on autopilot for now, so they weren't in immediate danger. Air traffic control sent a flight instructor to help, while Grant tried to wake the co-pilot. Just then, a flight attendant brought bad news. Many passengers were injured, and debris from the private jet was stuck on top of the plane, threatening to break off again. Grant quickly directed the flight attendant to guide everyone to the back of the cabin and calm them down, reminding them that teamwork was key to getting through this. Finally, air traffic control called back with a pro-pilot who had a solid plan to minimize the danger, but they overlooked one crucial detail. The plane needed to make a 360-degree turn. Grant was lost with the instructor's jargon until a kid who loved flight games stepped up and helped her spin the plane around, buying them more time for rescue. But then, an emergency arose. A girl had a severe leg fracture, and there were no medical professionals on board. 911 quickly arranged for firefighters to guide them remotely. They instructed a passenger to make a makeshift splint, but they soon realized the girl might have a serious condition that could lead to her leg dying if not treated. With no tools on hand, one passenger had a bright idea. He heated a toothbrush to make a sharp knife. A brave chef stepped up, and with the firefighters guiding him, he performed the procedure, treating the girl's leg. Cheers erupted from the passengers, but the joy was short-lived when another passenger started gasping for air. Following the firefighters' advice didn't help. The situation worsened, and they realized it was high-altitude pulmonary edema. The firefighters quickly thought of using an emergency oxygen mask, but it wasn't working. Then, an elderly Japanese man stepped up shyly. A woman crushed some pills and mixed them with water in a nebulizer, letting the patient inhale the medicine. Miraculously, he regained consciousness, but they still had one last hurdle. With everyone working together, it seemed like they were turning things around until the plane suddenly shook violently. The debris was causing a second rupture, and the plane was plummeting. Grant was at a loss, and the instructor's guidance was just confusing. But the kid who loved flight games jumped in again, and Grant clung to hope. They needed to give 30th thrust compensation, and the kid understood immediately. Grant pushed the throttle to the max, needing to make precise adjustments to the controls. She hesitated, but the kid stepped up, gently leveling the plane out before bringing the throttle back to zero, stabilizing it at last. Just then, the co-pilot woke up and everyone cheered, but as they helped him up, he suddenly felt unwell and passed out again. Even worse, he had no pulse. What will happen to this flight? Stay tuned and subscribe for more thrilling stories.